This is Daily Flash with Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. Broadcasting worldwide and streaming. Daily Flash. Today's talk, tomorrow's trends.
Hey everyone, I'm Andrea Jackson.
And I am Mitch English, welcoming you to our show. It's called Daily Flash. Today's talk, tomorrow's trends.
Hey, we love having you here. New report, Dave Ramsey, you know him, he's the financial
money guy.
Yeah. His daughter, Rachel Cruz, has got a new report out. She's saying she's warning young men of throwing money away on a habit that's taking down a generation. What habit do you think that
It would
is?
be buying tennis shoes, basketball shoes.
Well, that's part of it.
No, I don't know. What would see?
Chasing quick money through sports betting.
Sports betting.
Cryptocurrency, and risky real estate moves, putting their financial futures at risk. I'll bring James in on this because he's kind of our. You like Kelsey, right? Didn't you mention Kelsey to me before?
Kalashi. It's on
Kalashi?
my phone right now.
Are those those weird? They're not donuts, but
they're Poonskis. You talking about Poonskis?
Oh, is that there? Okay.
That's
what is that you're talking about? Your app?
So it's an app that's out where you can bet on anything. You
Anything.
can create
Yeah.
any kind of bet you want. If people buy into it, they all jump into a pot, and whoever wins wins. There are a ton of bets for the World Cup, obviously, but yeah, you can bet on anything. It's a risk.
How do they not know that could be rigged? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Like if you're
that's a good
betting on
question.
anything, like let's say something, because you could bet like on this TV show, somebody can say, I bet James is going to say so on and so forth 4 times, right?
Yeah.
But do you know what I'm saying? But what if like somebody say, hey man, say so on and so forth 4 times? Is it monitored that way, or is it what it is?
No, they have they have rules within the app. There are certain things you can't do. So just to make sure everything is credible. But yeah, as far as sports and all that stuff, and you can bet on cryptocurrency going up and down too.
You can bet on
You can
cryptocurrency.
bet, which isn't it cryptocurrency a bet in the first place?
Exactly.
Which
the gamble.
is a bet on a bet.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So just a heads up, she's just saying that the mistake that she sees young men making is investing their money in these really get-rich-quick schemes, fast money, which usually doesn't end well. The commercials will tell you something different, but in reality, you're putting your financial future at risk.
Makes sense.
So we love to ask you a question of the day, and for that, we go to Mr. James Alexander.
So I bet you're going to give us.
I bet you bet. Hold on. You probably win some money. Kowski. All right. So the question of the day is: what are you tired of explaining? What are you tired of explaining?
Cryptocurrency. But here's the thing.
Really?
I still don't understand it.
Yeah. Bitcoin, forget it.
Oh, really?
I'm so over it.
I think it's obvious things too. Where I think I can't pull one example out, but it's like those things that you sort of already know, kind of common sense stuff. Like, why are you doing this when you know what the result is? I wish I can give you one example outright, but I know that plenty of times, like, why do we keep on doing this? Those sort of things.
Well, I'll bring it back to our shopping cart. Why do we have to explain that it's important to return the shopping cart to the cart return area? Why? Why is that so difficult? Why is there an excuse not to return the shopping cart? I'm sorry. I've got 6 kids and I've got to get them to the car. Can they hang on for like 30 seconds while you return a cart?
I'm with y'all. Don't understand. I'm 100%. If you got 6 kids, first off, one of them's old enough to take it back by himself.
Yes,
all right?
thank you.
Yes.
But I get that. What I do love about the most popular shopping place around here is that they'll always have somebody that'll take your out, so that can resolve that.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
And you're not allowed to tip them either. That's what I love.
Oh,
That
really?
was really hard to get used to at first.
There's a
I'm
big
like,
sign. Do not
Not allowed.
tip the bag boys at Publix.
Yeah.
You're not supposed.
I
They will
didn't
not
know
take a tip.
that.
Yeah, you're not supposed to do that. That's what
I didn't know people still did that. Tip
You-
the bag-
right?
Take the bad boy.
That's a person I would tip,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Right.
exactly.
Which is correct, but I understand that. But I didn't know people still did that. I remember back in the day, but not now.
Yeah.
You figure they take your groceries out, they bag them, and put, bag boy always.
If
always
anybody deserves a tip, those guys do. And then they're taking those carts out in the 100-degree weather or the pouring rain. So God bless them.
So here's just a quick fact. Well, it's not really a fact. It's history. When I was a kid, I used to carry the bags out. I would ask people at the grocery store. And because in Detroit, they would, so the baskets wouldn't be
Stolen?
all over the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So they would block off a certain amount of space for you to come out so you can pull up your car and put your bags in. But a lot of people didn't want to leave their bags alone, so they were hiring the kids. We would grab the bags and we would walk everything to the car, and they would pay us.
There is when my boys were in Boy Scouts, they had a thing at the mall at Christmas time. They would basically get a bunch of golf carts. And they would do that. And, and you didn't have to tip unless you wanted, but it was a fundraiser thing. It's like, hey, we'll take you to your car, and so you don't have to walk and help you put all your stuff inside your car. So I love that idea. There was a great, I know we've gone rogue here, but there's a grocery store I remember out in Utah that had a drive-through for that because you can leave your groceries there, take your car, drive up, and then it's covered and everything.
That's brilliant. I never thought about that. They could just put it in the bag.
Like a valet kind of.
Yeah.
Could you imagine getting someone else's groceries?
You know what though?
Okay, I think it's easy to do.
It is.
I think it's easy to do
because of that. What is it like? Uber, where they'll do all the shopping for you. What's it called?
Uber.
Shop.
Cart
something. Shop cart.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Instacart. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
But if you go in the front, right by the scales at Publix, there's bags there where you're supposed to go and pick up your stuff. I'm like, how easy would it be for me to
just take that stuff?
I'm glad I'm a good person.
You know that's why he stopped. That's why Chipotle has stopped putting bags out because people are walking up and are taking the bags. They're looking at their phone, faking, taking the bag, trying to see what was in the bag.
I don't blame them. I mean, that's
one of the taco places by my house, they have a safe. So what it is that if you're an Uber driver, you get a code. They put the food in there, and you type in the code,
and you would be able
to pull it out. That's how they need to do it.
That's a smart way to do it.
So that's what I'm tired of explaining.
Yes. Okay. You can let us know what you think. DailyFlashShow.com is the website. Sound off. Look for our question of the day. We would love to hear from you. We also want to hear from you about this one. A woman named Paige says she was ejected from a Detroit Tigers game because of her Jesus Over Pride T-shirt. Now, after someone complained the shirt was offensive, stadium staff approached the fan, cited her, and had her removed. Paige says she was escorted out by a team of employees and 3 additional police officers. She says she was never offered a chance to cover the shirt or change seats or even tell her family. Paige recorded the interaction and insisted she was simply expressing her Christian faith and had the right to wear the shirt. No comments from the Detroit Tigers organization. It's been a bad couple of weeks for...
Not my Tigers.
We should say this is AI.
Yeah.
This is not what you
This is an AI video, of course.
But how?
For you.
Right? How? How can... I've heard of on airlines, if you have a shirt that's offensive, they say, hey, can you go in the bathroom and cover it up or whatever. But even still, how is that offensive? If somebody says that's offensive to me and then complains, I get because they're going against that. Yeah. But then how can, if she was there and said, hey, these flags offend me, how could that be any different? And that's what I'm tired of explaining, right?
Yes,
thank you for doing this story.
That's a great point, yes. So I think that it's been a bad couple of weeks for Major League Baseball because of this whole Pride Month and the controversy surrounding some of the players not wanting to wear the Pride gear, wanting to promote their Christian faith instead. Now you've got this woman who chooses to wear a T-shirt to the game, and someone, quote in air quotes, someone was offended by it. Who knows who it was?
Probably
or if anybody was.
If somebody that was going after because she was doing her own, basically protesting.
In my thinking, why wouldn't the Detroit Tigers organization just offer her a free Detroit Tigers T-shirt and say, hey, you know what? Somebody's been offended by this. Why don't you throw that on?
Well, I mean, you have the right to free speech.
Free speech.
It's not like, and I understand, people being, some people being offended and so on and so forth, but at the same time, you still have a right to free speech. It is not hate speech. It's just family over pride. That's how they feel. All right, but it's not hate speech. So I'm going to tell you that I'm ashamed of my Tigers for doing this.
I know. They're my Tigers too, yeah.
And you guys could have handled it a different way, like Andrea said. So there are other ways to do it. So, but to kick her out and stuff like that.
Okay.
Outrageous.
I have to mention of this. We just went through our nation's birthday, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's all about what is it? It's blank, apple pie, and Chevrolet. What all those things is American. Baseball is American. And you think that this MLB, and shame on the MLB, first off, for hey, maybe we should kind of not, let's be, remember that this is the America's game.
Yes.
And let's be more conscious of this. Instead of why are we trying to really push out? Now, I know these things are planned well in the future, but this is the kind of thing that really it starts at the top, right? And we're moving so far away. I agree that America is all about those opinions, but to kick somebody out because they said pride over...
and not just kick somebody out,
Jesus.
but they had 6 people escort her out. Do you really need, and to make an
Jesus
example.
over pride.
Yeah, to make an example.
But you know what? It brings a lot of attention to the situation, right?
Can I also say pride is the universal sin? And any church will tell you that. And I want to throw that out. Pride needs to be open up for everybody.
I would say this. You know, at the end of the day, we had conversations about this, about being having politics in sports. Let's get rid of it.
Yes.
There you go.
And it's but it's all about money.
We'll talk more about this. How about that a little bit later on? Here's our brain flash question. In golf, what is one stroke under par called?
I know this one.
Oh, nice. We'll have the answer after this.
Welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Andrea Jackson. Do you think rush hour is bad? Well, experts say it may never end. Flexible work schedules and hybrid jobs have created a never-ending rush hour all across the country. Here to explain why traffic is now an all-day problem is Juliana Kaplan from Business Insider. Juliana, welcome back. Great to see you. I lived in Los Angeles, and I feel like Los Angeles has moved across the country. I'm experiencing it here in Florida as well. What is the never-ending rush hour?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what it sounds like. That rush hour is no longer maybe this like pre 9 a.m. slot, post 5 p.m. slot, but instead it's pretty much every hour during the day.
Yeah.
Folks are getting stuck in traffic, and that's because we've seen not only like have traffic patterns spread out, but there are also just more people on the road in general.
So what do you think about remote hybrid work? How has that changed commuting?
Yeah, so I think that first of all, like the initial remote wave in the pandemic meant that a lot of people were kind of looking in areas that maybe they wouldn't have lived in previously, right? Like a lot of folks moved further away from where their offices are because in part there was that home buying frenzy, I'm sure that y'all remember, where interest rates were really low. So people lived further away than they might have otherwise. And so at the same time, now a lot of people are being called back in. So they're doing those longer commutes. They're taking up roads that maybe they didn't take up prior to COVID. And then at the same time, because a lot of folks have a bit more flexibility as sort of an outgrowth of that remote work era, like they're commuting at more off hours, which at first seems like a great hack, but then if everybody's commuting at an off hour, then we're all commuting, you know?
Yes, yeah, that explains why I get on the road at, 11 o'clock in the morning and it's packed and I don't understand why. What impact in your research for the story does this have on the work-life balance?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think for the folks who do have the flexibility and are able to do kind of those off-hour commutes, like they're sort of like, okay, like, the poison is worth the antidote or whatever it might be. Like they're willing to accept a longer commute if it's a few days a week because they have that flexibility otherwise. And like that makes sense. Like it's a trade-off, I think, for a lot of other folks, though, especially people who have roles that have always been in person or are still very tethered to that 9 to 5 schedule, or people who work in like service jobs or healthcare that are very much in person and have to commute at like off hours. I think there is definitely a bit more of a negative impact.
What solutions in your reporting and your research do you think could help reduce the congestion?
Yeah, this has come up a lot. And if I had a silver bullet, I think I would not be a reporter. Obviously, I think one pretty straightforward one is beefing up, increasing, adding in public transit. Not only does that mean people aren't on the roads, it's a very efficient way of getting people around. If you think about like one dynamic we've seen is that a lot more people are driving solo for a long time. And if I think about how crowded my subway car is in the morning in New York, like, yes, it's crowded, but we're transporting a ton of people.
Yeah.
Certainly more efficient. Obviously, though, that takes a lot of time, infrastructure, and so on. Another solution that I heard about from researchers is this idea of congestion pricing, and not necessarily the kind that we have here in New York, where it's like a flat fee, do not come downtown, but rather more of like a dynamic pricing. So instead, like pricing it so that, okay, say the toll for driving on this road is like only $1 at noon. So you're trying to incentivize people to drive at noon rather than like maybe it costs $4. to drive at 9. And the idea, this has been tested in other places. Singapore, for instance, has this. And the idea is to keep the road moving at a pretty constant clip and also to help offset more wear and tear, which I think is something people don't necessarily think about.
Yeah, very true. Great information, the never-ending rush hour. We have that dynamic pricing here in Florida on the toll roads, and it definitely does help. We appreciate the insight, Juliana. Great to see you. We're going to post this interview on our website. The website is dailyflashshow.com/FMI, businessinsider.com for more information on the rush hour never ending, and Juliana Kaplan writing this incredible story. Stay with us. Daily Flash returns right after this.
All right. Thank you there, Jackson. Hey, this is the time of the show where we all pause, we look at a story, and we all say collectively, Mitch, please. All right, I ran across a story. Basically, it's about something that's called the Freedom Ship. Have you heard about this? It's a proposed floating city that would house up to 80,000 people and basically just spend its entire life just traveling around the world. We got some video of it. And I got to tell you, I think the people who actually come up with this idea have a much higher opinion of humanity than I do. This is some renderings of what they think. It all sounds great and amazing on paper.
Yeah.
Think about it. Restaurants, schools, shopping parks, hospitals, all in one place on one giant ship in the middle of an ocean. You never have to move. You would wake up in a different part of the world every few days, right? Well, that sounds great until you remember that we're the same species that invented the internet that also argues about whether a shopping cart should be returned or not. So keep that in mind. We can't even merge onto I-4 without turning it into a competitive sport. Am I right, ladies?
Yes, you are right.
All right, so now we're going to put 80,000 people all together on the Love Boat, and we just expect everybody to get along with that. It is just adorable. So you all know what's basically going to happen, right? There's going to be that one dude that's going to think that the rules don't apply to him because he's, quote, listen, I know from the captain for years. All right, there's going to be a neighborhood Facebook page that everybody's going to complain about, right? Then there's going to be a guy that thinks the buffet hour should be longer. And you know there's going to be that lady who goes, slow down, this thing's moving too fast. Is there a manager of the Atlantic I can speak to? And somehow, somewhere, there's still going to be road rage. Listen, I don't know how, but we have to find a way. I love big dreams, I love big ideas, but if you want to know what life on a floating city would really look like, just imagine your HOA, except, well, nobody can leave at all. That's a floating utopia. I think not. Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English. What if one small, simple idea can actually change the way you live? I'm real excited about this because our next guest believes that the smallest, most intentional choices can actually have the biggest impact at home, at work, and even in your relationships as well. He's a best-selling author, a keynote speaker, and the self-proclaimed Chief Morale Officer who has spent years helping people and organizations close the gap between what they say and what they do. Please welcome to Daily Flash, Mr. Kirk Weisler. How are you, Kirk?
Fantastic. Good morning, Daily Flash crowd, and good morning, Mitch.
Glad to have you on here today because, it is about being intentional, which we'll get to in a second, but we got to talk about your title. A lot of people know you today as the Chief Morale Officer, which is a title you don't hear every day, but you say there's actually a really meaningful, important purpose behind that. And so for people meeting you for the first time, who is Kirk Weisler and how did you actually wind up becoming a Chief Morale Officer?
It was a title I made up. It was a focus on a company that we were building and creating 1,000 jobs. And in that industry, the turnover can be incredibly high, 100 to 200% attrition rates. Wow. So we wanted to focus on culture. And I thought the director of total quality just didn't sound like a fun title. So I just said, you know what? I like this Chief Morale Officer title. A focus on culture and morale. And it stuck and it worked and people loved it.
And you hear businesses all the time saying, culture is important, but you say it's more than important, it's essential. Why is that?
Oh, yeah. There's a phrase someone says, culture eats strategy for breakfast. So we can say all the things, we can have all the stuff in the lobby that says, these are our values, these are our mission. But if you don't get that inscribed on the fleshy tablets of people's hearts, then there's a gap between what we say we are and what we do. And whenever there's a gap between our behavior and our performance, there's an integrity gap and we feel out of alignment with ourselves and others. So culture is everything.
So it needs to be more than just a buzzword. And why does it matter so much to kind of reiterate what you just said?
Well, if I don't feel connected, right, there's got to be a sense of connection and clarity in everything that I do. If I don't really feel connected to the mission and the vision of what we're trying to do here, then I'm just showing up. But if I feel that sense of connection, Now it's not about that thing over there. It's about me. My identity is now associated with the identity of the brand or the identity of our mission. And that association is key to live in integrity and to live in mission.
I love that. Having a purpose and having that intention so vital, really, because it gives you a direction. And you've done some really, obviously, as we were watching, some really creative ways that actually impact that workplace culture, helping people actually take initiative and be that more intentional as well. And you have a book, it's called The Dog Poop Initiative. It's a bestseller, and he claims a best smeller as well. Actively being used over 150,000 leaders and organizations worldwide. I want to hear a little bit more about what that is, just briefly, and then why you want to talk about one of your other creations that you have designed to help people becoming more intentional, but also setting them up to walk and talk, their talk at least, all day long. Tell me about the Dog Poop Initiative. Where did it come from?
You're so fun. So when I wrote this book, guys, almost 20 years ago now, I had no idea how it would be used. It wasn't an idea to be a business book. But the reason leaders say they use the book, because I don't sell the book, people just keep buying it, is because they say in 5 minutes it goes from ownership. It goes from the premise of the book, Mitch, is simply this. There's a pile of dog poop on a soccer field. This is a true story.
Uh-huh.
And the solution adopted by all the people on the soccer field is to make sure everybody knows where it is so they can avoid it. And so for a couple hours, hundreds of people are pointing at this pile of poop saying, hey, watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out, hating on dog owners, until one guy just goes over there and says, you know what, and cleans it up. And in less than 90 seconds, all the drama is removed because someone took the initiative. So pointing and complaining and blaming are behaviors that keep us stuck and that undermine culture.
I love
right?
it.
Seeing something needs to be done and doing it without being asked, that's initiative, that's leadership.
All
And
right.
so leaders love it.
Taking that initiative is a part of your projects too, and I got to show everybody here because I have these, and I think this is just an incredible idea. It's these socks, and you're saying we can be intentional with these cool walkie-talkie socks. Where did this idea come from?
So anyone who had a good dad, there was a point in your life when you were a little kid, you're like, Mom, what do I get Dad for Father's Day? What do I get Dad for his birthday? And my kids went to my wife and she said, your dad likes socks. So over the course of 6 children and 20 years, pretty soon I had over 350 pairs of socks. And I began to mismatch them. And then I realized, oh, you know what? I can put on this Hulk sock and I can focus on resilience today. I can put on my Popeye, the Sailor Man sock, and I can focus on eating well today. And I began to use socks as this idea of being intentional, set my intention at the beginning of the day, step into my intentions. And then I had this idea that, you know what, man, it'd be kind of cool to do my own sock brand and take socks wrapped around the principles that I try to teach in leadership and culture. And so that was kind of the Gemini, the genesis of it, rather.
And what I love about it is that people will notice it, and then you take an ownership of it because they're like, why are you wearing different socks? You can say, well, you know what I'm doing is this. I have one that's family. This one's about my family, so I'm going to concentrate on my family today. I love this idea, and you have a mismatch, so you don't necessarily have to, concentrate on one or the other. But at least it will be even that much more noticeable out there. I love this. You've actually set up where our viewers can actually take advantage of this. You're giving them a little bit of discount. Tell them about that, what they can do.
Listen, you just go on walkietalkiesocks.com, type in Flash 20.
There you go. Okay.
Type in Flash 20, 20% off for all the Flash fans out there, and you can have your own walkie-talkie socks. Our socks don't match, and that's on purpose. I'm holding up the F-bomb right there. This is called our F-bomb.
Oh, I love it. Yes, I have the F-bomb.
Fitness. Yeah.
It's family.
This is Daily Flash with Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. Broadcasting worldwide and streaming. Daily Flash. Today's talk, tomorrow's trends.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mitch English.
I'm Andrea Jackson. This is Daily Flash, today's trends, tomorrow's talk. Before we do anything, we want to check in with James Alexander for our stations across the nation.
I'm checking in with these stations too. All 219 stations
Yes,
across our great country of ours and across the globe on the American Forces Network. Now, if you want to find out where we are in your neck of the woods, go to our favorite website, dailyflashshow.com, and click on where to watch. I don't know why I sing like,
I don't know. Man, you got a good voice here, Jay.
All right. Hey, entertainment is in my future because our local friend today comes from Reno, Nevada, KCNL TV.
Reno.
I love Reno.
The biggest little city.
in the world.
It is, and we have a special thing in common over in Reno.
What's that?
It's the divorce capital of the world.
Oh, yes.
You know, big reason, it's right next, I mean, by California, it's not very far away.
Right.
So that's what I blame it on. But it is a cool little city. What else do we know about, why is it the divorce?
Well, you were saying in the 30s to the 60s, Reno was known as divorce capital of the world because Nevada only required a 6-week residency to get a divorce.
Okay.
Over 30,000 couples split at the...
Washoe.
I can't say that. I can't say
Why
that. It says Washoe.
Washoe County. There you go.
Courthouse during the 30s alone. People came from all over the world, and even divorce ranches popped up where the soon-to-be singles could stay during their 6 weeks.
Well, I'm guessing it didn't take Frank Sinatra 6 weeks to get a divorce because he is,
Frankie, in and out, baby.
In and out,
In and out.
And it's very, like I said, it's very close to it's a really cool, it has a river run right through it, the Truckee River.
Yeah, the Truckee River.
Oh,
No,
No, it's
does.
really cool. It's like
that's where you go wash them
Yeah.
up.
you can why not?
And if you ski heavenly, it's fascinating because on one side you'll see California and the other side you'll see Nevada, and two different landscapes altogether. So
You're
it can
right.
be snowing on one side and it can be complete desert on the other. It's
Oh,
crazy.
wow.
It's really
Andre
neat.
and I, we spent our honeymoon there.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
We did that so we can easily get
6
divorced.
weeks. That's
Right?
where you
We
were.
met at the divorce camp.
That's where we met at the divorce court.
You know.
All right, at the top of the show, if you were watching, we brought up this great story about this T-shirt that was worn at a baseball game.
Yes, so a lady was at a Detroit Tigers game. She had a T-shirt that said "Jesus over Pride." The video you'll see is AI generated, just for demonstration purposes. Anyway, she was kicked out. Not only was she kicked out, but she was escorted out by 3 cops and 3 park officials, and they said it was because of her T-shirt. Now, there have been some reports that suggested that she was standing up and they kept asking her to sit down. I don't know if that's really the case. My question too is, if she was standing up, if she was wearing a Detroit Tigers T-shirt, would that have mattered? But it seemed as though they were making an example out of her.
I think that's the
Yeah.
case. Yeah, James, you were actually
Yeah,
looking
so
at it.
I found the video. She had a
Yes.
hoodie, and it said it had Jesus in rainbow colors at the top, and over Pride at the bottom in black and white. So I look at this, and everybody should have some representation. I got it. But
100%.
politics,
I get it.
Politics and sports,
Yeah.
get rid of it.
Yes.
But guess what? It makes money.
How does it make money?
I
though,
mean,
James?
you sell all the merchandise with the rainbow flags.
You're talking
and so
about
on and
Pride
so
Month
forth,
and the
Pride
Pride-
Month and all that
yes.
stuff. And this stuff is selling for like $40, $50 a hat and so on and so forth. They're making a ton of money off of it. So I'm not going to get rid of it. Of course, you want to be represented. If I'm making a ton of cash
we
off
do
of it.
make mention that baseball games, they have, hey, it's Andrea Jackson night. You get a
Yes.
free bobblehead or what bobblehead night
Yes.
or whatever. So they have those sort of things for
Right.
that. Why is that being overshadowed? Like, listen, we know you're just doing this to make money, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then,
We
because
see it.
and you're forcing the players to wear it because then it also could be a game worn hat and that
Right.
sort of thing. But you're talking about something that's going against somebody's convictions.
Yeah.
And you're forcing that upon them. And if they say they don't want to do it, they should be allowed not to have done that. And then, you know what? If that's brave for them to go, I'm going against the
Do you have the right to do whatever you want to if you buy a ticket?
Do
you have the right?
I think there's a social
you-
contract we need to follow, but
Yes.
Right. Are you under the rules of the game or
Yes.
Yes.
team? that
Because when you walk in, you're making a contract
Yes.
with them. So I'll
so
agree
if
with that.
that's the case, then she made the contract when she bought the ticket.
All right. But then they could have given her a shirt, like Jackson said, and
That's
covered
true.
it up instead of kicking her out. We got more of today's talk, tomorrow's trends after this. Hey everybody, welcome back to Daily Flash. It is now time to take a look at lifestyles of the rich and famous as we dive into some celebrity real estate. I love this segment.
Okay, we're going to begin with a $16.3 million Montana ranch that starred in the popular TV series Yellowstone.
Okay.
It's known as Two Feathers Ranch, and the property has been on the market since October of 2024. The heart of the property is a beautiful lodge-style residence that spreads across more than 7,000 square feet.
Wow.
The property features 371 acres and several additional structures, including a guest house, horse barns, a horse arena, and a working stock headquarters. It's everything a budding rancher would need to start a brand new life. Wowza.
I want it. I want it.
Beautiful.
All right, you know Paul Anka, back in the 50s, he was quite the crooner,
Yes.
legendary singer, he's a songwriter. He's actually lifting his anchor from the California home he has, and he's off on a brand new adventure. He's chosen to relocate to Nevada, where he lived very, very long and many years, and will actually keep a smaller home in Los Angeles. That means he's looking to find a new owner for this Westlake Village residence, which Anka brought back to the market for close to $9 million,
great.
isn't it? The villa is located on 6 acres. It overlooks the clubhouse, the greens, and the surrounding mountains. A gated driveway heads to a motor court with room for more than 6 vehicles. There are 4 en-suite bedrooms, 6 bathrooms. The master suite has a fireplace, 2 bathrooms, 2 closets, and a balcony overlooking the grounds. Outside, there's an infinity pool, gardens, and a gym with an outdoor shower. You gotta have that.
Those look like Andy Warhol portraits.
They did,
of him.
yeah, yes.
Isn't his daughter married to Jason Bateman? Amanda Anka?
Ooh, I'll have to
Is
find
it?
out. I
Is
don't
that
know.
her? Okay, we'll have to look
That's
into
actually
that.
cool if it is.
Yeah,
I never knew that.
think it is.
Okay.
It's a wonder that this Malibu residence is still standing after so many people lost their dream homes in last year's wildfires. But this oceanfront penthouse could be yours for $8.75 million. It's currently owned by Wonder Woman star Gal Gadot and her husband. The 3-bedroom, 3-bath residence features nearly 2,000 square feet of living space. The photographs from the listing reveal a well-designed space that could work for an entire family. The chef's kitchen is small, but it has everything a chef would need and includes custom cabinetry and a breakfast bar. There's also a formal dining area, as well as a main bedroom with a walk-in closet and a spa-like bath.
All right, the artistic sanctuary of David Lynch has a new owner, the late American filmmaker's property in the Hollywood Hills. It sold for $13 million. Lynch's compound hit the market for $15 million last September, less than a year after his death. He died at the age of 78. Lynch died at his home following a battle with emphysema. The 3-bedroom, 2,000 square foot home was designed by Lloyd Wright. Don't worry, that's the son of Frank Lloyd Wright. Other spaces include the cluttered workshop where Lynch practices his hobbies, including furniture making and sculpture. Some of Lynch's own metalwork designs can be found throughout the home. If you want to get inspired to do a little Twin Peaks, there you go. That's the place to go.
Isn't that pretty? Yeah.
Isn't that great? You are right. Amanda Anka is married to Jason Bateman. You are right, which is the daughter of Paul Anka. And I learned something today, so high five. You taught me something.
I'm guessing a lot of California real estate, the real expensive stuff, is going in the market because people are like, I can't handle the taxes anymore. And the millionaires tax, billionaires tax, and also there's a real estate tax that they're adding to some of these more luxurious homes. It's outrageous.
After the fire out there, they're seeing like, look how mismanaged that was. I don't care what side of the political fence you were on. There were reservoirs drained, and they're like, there's no really plan to do that. So why would you want to rebuild?
Right.
Especially for the one that we had spoke of. And taxes are a big deal. Companies are seeing it as well. They're moving a lot to Texas. We're seeing a lot of people in Texas, but the next big place is Nashville.
Texas, Tennessee, and Florida. And also South Carolina, I think, too, is one of them.
Yeah, well, yeah, she's great.
And North Carolina, come on. Yeah.
All right, we love all that. We love you, no matter what state you're at, including California or anywhere else. Of course, we have today's talk and tomorrow's trends. And we will, of course, be sticking around with more because that's some must-watch. And also we'll have some fun and talk a little bit more about that big controversy what's happening in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, and we love to hear from you. DailyFlashShow.com, the website. Sound off, hit that button, and let us know what you think about any topic we're talking about on the show.
You're watching Daily Flash. Time now for The Scene with Doreen.
With over 450 screen performances to her credit, multi-talented actress Adrienne Barbeau is living proof that age does not diminish a career. Whether it be as the original Rizzo in the Broadway production of Grease, to starring in the John Carpenter classic Escape from New York, Adrienne is full of surprises, and I can't wait to see what she has in store for us next. Check it out. A lot of people know your body of work in film and television, but you made your household name as the original Rizzo in the Broadway production of Grease. What's it like to originate a role, especially a role that has become so iconic in pop culture?
When Grease opened, we got bad reviews. We did not get good reviews. We didn't know if we were going to be on the boards for another week, you know? So no one at that time, in those days, had any thought that this was going to be, for so many of us, a life-changing show, and it certainly was for me.
He is not 70 years old. Mother, you can age a man faster than any woman I know.
I'll drink to that.
And you land Maude, a huge show that really it was groundbreaking. And you have said that you really didn't know it was at the time because you didn't watch a lot of TV going into it.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, I had been doing theater since I was 15, so I had friends from Fiddler. We all had dinner together one night. This was after an interview had been set up for me with Norman Lear, who were telling me about this new show called All in the Family that was Norman Lear, and how, you know, groundbreaking it was, and how great it was. And but I didn't know anything.
B. Arthur, I heard that you maintained a very good relationship with her all the way through to her passing.
Oh, yes, I loved her dearly. I loved her dearly. Well, the entire cast was very, very close. It was like getting up in the morning and leaving one family to go to another family and spend the whole day.
Are you the booby lady on the calendars?
AJ, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, that's me.
I read in your autobiography that you actually had 2 other co-stars. People were busy watching your co-stars as you would walk down the stairs.
I can't remember who finally said it to me, but I must have said something about, well, how was the performance? Well, who cares? Nobody was watching a performance. They were watching you walk down the stairs.
Maggie. He's dead.
The John Carpenter classic Escape from New York turns 45 years old this year. The concept of a female action hero, it was really relatively quite new. Maggie was years ahead of her time, I think.
I love Maggie. I love Maggie. I love her. I love her morality. When Brain is killed and she turns to Snake and puts her hand out, indicating that she wants him to throw her the gun, and she's going to take care of this now. She's going to avenge Brain's death. That's all of it for me. I'm sure it's nothing.
And you're still making awesome movies. The new one, Oddities, comes out this year.
It's sort of a Thelma and Louise meets The Quiet Place. It's more of an exorcism kind of horror as opposed to a slasher horror or anything like that. I'm really looking forward to that.
Visit abarbeau.com, check out her upcoming live appearances, see the new movie Oddities, and just stay connected to everything that is the very talented Adrienne Barbeau. And if you want to hear more of our wonderful conversation, visit here. I'm Doreen Taylor with The Scene with Doreen here at the Daily Flash each week. See you next time.
Financial stress affects everyone, but a new survey by Beyond Finance reveals it is hitting men in a uniquely personal way. Here to break down the connection between financial stress and men's mental health is certified financial therapist at Beyond Finance, Nathan Assel.
Hi, I'm Nathan Assel, certified financial therapist at Beyond Finance. A new national survey reveals what many men are already feeling but rarely say. 57% of men say financial struggles have made them feel like they are falling short of being a man. 82% say society still expects them to be the primary earner, yet nearly 70% say that role is harder to fulfill today than it was for their fathers. Men are being asked to meet yesterday's expectations in today's economy, and most are carrying that pressure alone. More than half have avoided talking about financial struggles because they felt they should have had it handled. But suffering in silence is not strength, it's isolation. The good news is that financial struggle is not a character flaw. Start by separating your financial circumstances from your sense of worth. Focus on one thing you can control today, whether that's reviewing your budget, reaching out for guidance, or having an honest conversation with someone you trust. Visit beyondfinance.com for free financial wellness resources.
Do you know an estimated 27.6 million people around the world are currently victims of human trafficking, including millions right here in the United States? Here's what you need to know.
Human trafficking affects more than 27 million people worldwide, men, women, and children. And there is something you can do about it. Hi, I'm Brandy Bynum, Unit Chief at the Blue Campaign. Human trafficking is happening right here in communities across the United States. Trafficking is not always about kidnapping or strangers. And it doesn't always look like what we see in the movies or on TV. Victims are often trafficked by someone they trusted, sometimes even their own family, and the trauma may prevent them from seeking help. While millions of people are watching major events like the FIFA World Cup, trafficking can go unnoticed, often happening in hotels, restaurants, transportation, and other everyday public settings. Stopping human trafficking starts with awareness. By learning the warning signs and starting conversations, we can all play a role in protecting our communities. Help us break the silence around human trafficking. Visit bluecampaign.gov/World Cup.
Keeping your dog's breath fresh is one of the most common concerns among pet parents, and the good news is there are some simple everyday solutions. Check this out.
The most common cause of bad dog breath is bacteria that builds up on our dog's teeth, and over time it hardens into plaque and tartar. So this is a sign that you should talk to your vet about a dental checkup to make sure your dog may need a dental cleaning. But you can also implement daily dental treats. And when you're looking for a dental treat for your dog, you want to find something that has ingredients that support fresh breath. You want one that has great texture so your dog will enjoy chewing it. And ideally, you want something low calorie enough that you can treat it multiple times a day. And for all those reasons, we use Minty's Fresh Bites here at our house with my dog Tulip. I chose them because they have 5 natural breath freshening herbs. They're only 7.5 calories, and it's a simple way to keep her breath fresh, but also build some special bonding moments for us 3 or 4 times a day when she gets those multiple treats. You can visit Minty's.com and you can get Fresh Bites at Walmart.
Mitch, the website.
Of course, we got more Hollywood stories.
More Mitch, please.
And now you can read and watch what we couldn't fit on the show.
And there's even a sound off button. Just click it. Leave us a message.
Right there from your computer.
Or even your cell phone. You could hear your voice right here on TV. So what are you waiting for?
Go on and check it out. Right now. Go on. Do it.
DailyFlashShow.com. It's the website for Daily Flash. We kept the name simple for you.
Welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm James Alexander along with Mitch Inges and the lovely Andrea Jackson. I want to hit you up with the question of the day. What are you tired of explaining? Okay, you can go to our website at dailyflashshow.com and click on the sound off button where you can let me know what you're tired of explaining. And also you can let me know what you think about this story about the MLB kicking out, my Detroit Tigers kicking out a young lady over her shirt that says Jesus over pride.
Yeah, she was escorted out not by 1, not by 2, but by 6 people, 3 officers and 3 stadium officials. And she claims it was because of her t-shirt. They were trying to make an example out of her. T-shirt said Jesus over pride. Some people were saying that it was because she was standing up and she wouldn't sit down. My question is, well, if she had a Detroit Tigers t-shirt on at that point, would they have bothered with her at all and kicking her out?
We should mention this is an AI video. We just want to kind of give you an idea of what was going down here. And we have to, you have to think that, okay, because of the shirt, but maybe she went in there knowing that, because you had mentioned that she had the rainbow.
Right, she had a hoodie,
the hoodie that had it all on there. Was it on the front or the back of
it? It was on the front of her shirt.
So standing up, you know, you kind of are, you're blocking people behind you. They wouldn't, you know, and the illustration that we had, it had it on the back. But you kind of wonder, like, wait a minute.
Somebody's
was it? So, and there are people that are agitators to do that. I'm just trying to show both sides of this.
Right.
But even still, it would have been really a show of just, hey, we're open to everybody for the Major League Baseball to give this woman something to cover up with, or a chance to have, a different outfit. I'm sorry.
I agree. I mean, like Andrea said, give her a t-shirt, let it go.
And there's also a money-making aspect of this for the Pride folks and for MLB. So you were saying they charge $30, $40 a pop. And then are you taking advantage of the gay community by marketing this kind of event and making money off of it? That's another angle that is worth discussing.
Big money.
And why do we continue to mix politics with sports? Bad idea.
I agree. It's supposed to be America. We're all get along and have a common thing together, which we'll do again tomorrow. Bye-bye.